You're good.
Okay.
Oh, I'm kidding there.
All right.
Okay,
We're good to go.
so we'll call the Compass Executive Committee meeting to order and start with roll call.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Rod Beck,
Yes, here.
Travis Chadwick.
Who?
It's gonna be one of those days, I apologize.
I could do that.
I guess.
I could
Just
do
crack it up.
I'm here. Travis Chadwick is here.
You can vote twice.
Patricia Nelson.
Here.
Nelson. I'm gonna get everyone's name wrong. I'm gonna try to get this right. Okay. Brad Holton. Dan Heyer.
Oh, no. I didn't say
He's
here.
there.
Is that moved?
I just didn't,
Yeah,
I didn't hear
I
him.
didn't hear the audio.
Yeah, there's Dean.
Okay. Debbie Kling.
Here.
Lindy Lindstrom. Mary May.
Here.
Lauren McLean. Matt Newton.
Present.
John Overton.
Here.
Joe Steer.
Here.
Jaron Wagner.
I am here.
All right. We have a quorum.
Awesome. Okay, open discussion announcements. Any announcements?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just wanted to let the committee know, we are, in the process, we're really close. We should have the consultant to handle government affairs and basically works our lobbyist, on board any day now. So we've, done the RFP. We've, interviewed and have a selection, and we'll be going into the contracting phase now, and so hopefully we'll have that very soon to be able to move forward. As soon as that happens, we'll put the date out for that legislative forum, and they will step up and contact all the legislators in the delegation to hopefully be able to attend that forum event down here in the building downstairs.
And as soon as you
Coming soon.
get it confirmed, you'll send us all an email and let us know.
Absolutely.
Anxiously waiting. Who is it? Yeah, I know you can't tell.
Is it Travis, is his name?
No, it's Trevor.
Oh.
Oh, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to announce that Downtown Eagle is now open.
Yeah.
We had a ribbon cutting with ACHD.
Give it 6
and,
months, it'll be closed. again.
Yeah, on Thursday, and ACHD and Sunny Ridge, the whole team, they did a
That's cool.
amazing job, and she kept everybody updated. The outreach was just, unparalleled. So really good project. The people I got to say are happy, and I think probably the crew too, to have that project behind them, but we're excited to have everything done. So,
Congratulations.
yeah, that was been about 23 months, yeah,
How many months was it?
about 22.
Was it really that long?
Yeah. So there are a lot of, sometimes when you don't move the dirt for a while, you get in there and you find some surprises.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, anyway, it was a great project, and we're open. Linder's now closed, but it's on the other side of town.
Oh.
One bite at a time, yeah.
Yes. Any other announcements?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I don't have the dates, but I think you'll all be invited. We're having the open house on January 7th at the new Meeker headquarters, so you can go check out the palm trees. So I'm excited that we've got our C of O, and people are pretty much, I think 99% moved in, so.
Okay. If there are no further discussions, I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of the October 14th executive committee meeting minutes. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Okay, action items. So action item A has to do with establishing our December 15th board meeting agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'll just go through, your packet has the sort of the standard presentation of what we'd be putting into the agenda. So I'll run through the consent agenda items and any of the other special items as well. So basically just the regular consent agenda items, the minutes from the recent board meeting, the minutes from executive committee meetings that have happened since the last board, finance committee meeting since the last board. I think we will actually have a list of records for destruction this time around. We keep this on a placeholder, but I think we actually will rotate some off. we have a placeholder on air quality issues and standing committee attendance. So staff report on standing committee attendance. And then admin mods, and I think there are two administrative modifications that we've made. And I don't think there are any more that we're anticipating before the next board meeting, but we'll report on those as well. And then staff activity reports, informational item that we always have in the packets. Then current agenda items, prior to the actual board meeting, we'll do the Leadership in Motion Awards presentation as part of the luncheon. So looking forward to that, and again, encouraging everyone to attend that as well. Then we do also a consent item, but the updated Regional Transportation Advisory Committee membership. For those who have been asked to provide the names, if you haven't yet submitted them, please do get them in. I don't have the list of who we've gotten yet, but we'll be reaching out. We'll be reaching out for any that aren't in yet soon as a reminder. Yeah, and that's most of them have been coming in. It's no changes.
I just don't know if I sent it back.
We'll make sure. We'll.
I think Chris Hopper responded.
Okay.
I think he would respond, so I apologize. I was waiting.
All right.
So I hope.
Yeah, I think we're covered, but we'll make sure that, like I said, we'll reach out to everyone on that. And it ends up being a consent item, but we just want to make sure everything's in place as we start the new year. Then we will have NAMPA providing a member agency presentation on their projects of importance, of regional importance. Status report from the Finance Committee. We'll have, for those who are on the Finance Committee, you'll see in our meeting later this week, we have UPWP amendment revision number 1 for this fiscal year. And so we do that every year and take it to the board in December. Then we're bringing forward an action item to approve the carbon reduction strategy. RTP, or sorry, old habits die hard. Communities in Motion and Transportation Improvement Program amendment at the request of ITD, ACHD, and VRT. Then the board officer slate, which we'll be discussing in a few minutes. And then we have informational items, status report on the regional waterway pathway plan, and the findings from the 2024 congestion management annual report. And that'll be it for action and information items on the agenda. The rest of the packet does have what we're forecasting out into February as well, but we don't need to set that yet.
That's an action item.
It is an
I
action
stand for motion to approve the proposed sport agenda.
Motion to approve it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, item 20, do we usually do that in December? It's February.
Sorry, for sure.
I'm feeling board members
Should be done at the,
with the awards coming.
yeah, usually we do it at the board ceremony.
We do every week.
December, it says, it does say February.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, it should be December.
It should be, okay.
Yeah, shouldn't it? Because
This
there
will
won't
be
be
the
there.
This is my first time through this, so I'll defer a look at this.
About your last December.
Okay, we will do recognition about going board members in December. Greg had requested to add this item as well in February for those board members who may not be leaving their office, but who may be rotating off for agencies such as ACHD or others who have multiple. So that was requested to add on there an additional, for any other additional board members who may be rolling off the board, but not rolling off completely. So it's,
Do we need to put an item before the recognition, or do we do that as?
we do it as part of the Leadership in Motion Awards.
Okay.
So it's part of that packet of
Thank you, yeah.
that process.
Okay, February. Thank you. That was a good catch. Good question. Thank you for the clarification. So with that, I think our motion is still there.
Yeah.
To approve, and it's been seconded. And any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? All right. Okay, the next item on the agenda B is to approve the Compass board member travel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, yeah, this is, just this required approval, from the executive committee for, Compass to sponsor or pay for, Mayor Trevor Chadwick's travel, to attend the National Association of Regional Councils, National Conference of Regions in Washington, DC in February. He's on, this is a reminder, he's on the executive council, is that what it's called? Yeah, executive council for NARC currently. And so his attendance there is quite helpful. And there may be interest in others attending, but we'll track that down and potentially add another item to a future day.
Yeah, because we're in June, right? That'd be June.
The next meeting is June.
Yes. I think that's what we're trying to get me on as the third vice chair on that thing.
Mhm. And if that were to happen, that opens up an opening for our region. But that, we would certainly be, since we're one of the few active participants from this region, then that would probably open up an opportunity for someone else from our board to be on the executive council.
So this action item is just really authorizing Trevor to attend the meeting. The estimated costs is whatever.
Yeah, it's
budgeted.
It is budgeted. We have that built in.
Okay. So I can stand for a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move we approve board member travel for Mayor Chadwick to attend the National Association of Regional Council Conference of Regions on February 1st through the 4th of 2026 in Washington, D.C.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Let's hope it doesn't snow for it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Best part is it got moved off as a Super Bowl.
Oh, there you go.
That's a good thing.
Those dates, yeah.
Matt always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, the next item is to recommend the 2026 Compass Board Officer slates for the annual meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So after our September meeting, I sent out the invitation or solicitation for nominations. We have received one officer nomination for Canyon County. And that was, this is going to surprise him. He's on the call now, but that's for Dan Heyer to become Secretary Treasurer or Chair-elect, because we will have a vacancy that's created as well. And we tend, the pattern has been to alternate officer positions between Ada County and Canyon County. And so we will have the vacancy because Mayor Wagner won't be eligible to continue into the chair-elect position. And so that creates a gap. And so I'm kind of open to make any kind of recommendation for the executive committee. Executive committee's role is to put together the slate to advance, to move forward to the board for action in December at their annual meeting. So we could, the committee could choose to stick with that rotation pattern, could choose to do something alternative that's not written into the bylaws. But it has been the actual practice from what we can tell over that many years.
I think there's some, I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
Madam Chair, I think there's some benefit to doing that rotation. It kind of just keeps everything fair and just kind of equalizes everything, so.
Can I would say put Dan in that air spot and put Matt in the solo one, because you really don't have any other.
The only other thing that I have thought about, Matt,
Even
well,
Need to both be.
the incoming,
Rick
the
is very familiar with it too.
Rick Hogaboam is, my recommendation would be to hold the second spot and for Mary May to continue on filling the role of treasurer for a couple months, double duty extra. and leave that position open for right now. If you don't mind, my suggestion I have is that Rick Hogelbaum, as incoming mayor in the city of Nampa, has been a city council member. He's been chief of staff. He's very, very familiar and would be an excellent candidate because of what his history, right? He's done it, but you may be interested also, but.
No, did you hear my sigh of relief?
Did you?
That's a wonderful idea.
Well,
This is Lauren McLean. I support that suggestion. I think that's a great idea, Mayor.
Okay.
So we put Dan in that position.
Well, I think what we have to do is hold it open because he's not technically eligible. He's not appointed yet. He's not in office or appointed
But
yet.
Dan is the incoming chair.
But Dan is the incoming chair.
Dan is the incoming chair,
Yes, and then we hold the secretary treasurer position open. Mary May continues to fill that position double, right? Because somebody has to sign
But she would go into the vice president role and
for a couple
the
months,
secretary treasurer for a couple.
for a couple months.
We'll have to check the bylaws to make sure we can,
So
I
you
don't-
can hold 2 officer positions, I don't know.
yeah, we'll check that, so that could be option one, and then option two would be we leave the vice chair position open and we have a chair-elect, empty vice chair for a meeting cycle. And then advance and then have just like we did when Jay left and you came on, create that, we just have the board, the executive committee make a recommendation and then the board acted at its February meeting, fill that position. And you would advance, under the regular rules of succession, you would advance up to
I think
that.
it's more important to have somebody be able to sign the checks
I think so too.
I got a lot of.
than fill that second spot.
So just as a point of clarification, the secretary treasurer typically signs the checks, but all officers on the board are able to.
They are. Oh, okay. All right.
So you could leave the secretary treasurer position open. And then
Just
you,
that little detail of signing checks, any officer on the
Anyone
board
can
can do it.
Okay, well, that
That
actually,
works.
yeah, good, I'm glad someone is dug into that. So that would, then we just leave it open and don't make a recommendation, and then we'll fill that, we'll have, we'll discuss, or, this committee will discuss in January and make a nomination slate for the February board meeting for secretary treasurer. Yep,
okay, so what do we need to do
We need
today?
to make a motion.
it would be a motion that we just follow the regular order of succession and leave the secretary treasurer position without a nominee without a nominee.
Specifically, they'll put Dan into the president role.
That would be, oh, yeah, right. I'm so used to the.
Yeah.
Yes, it's out of sequence. It's an unusual, but yes, it would be.
Be chair-elect.
Commissioner Beck would be chair.
Chair-elect and chair.
Councilmember
Yeah.
Tyler would be chair.
Commissioner Beck becomes chair, exactly.
So let's,
Chair-elect, vice chair.
okay, so the chair is Rod Beck. The chair-elect is Dan Heyer. Mary, you are the
Vice chair.
incoming vice chair, and the secretary treasurer will stay open at this time. That's the motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion
Second.
that, okay, we'll just follow the move, so.
So move.
So move, yeah.
I got it.
Let's ask Dan.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hello, can you hear me?
we can hear you. How do you feel of this discussion? Are you willing to step into that role?
Well, I think I'd be more comfortable if I had a face-to-face meeting. Say, I'm coming in tomorrow morning for the Leadership in Motion Committee. And maybe I can sit down and get a little better grasp on what's expected before I say, yeah, I'll throw my hat in that ring.
If I could speak to it, having served in the capacity previously and then now stepping in, the staff is amazing and they do the work. And so you need to chair the meeting, but it isn't like you have to carry a tremendous amount of responsibility. So it is not a heavy load other than making the drive in to be present.
Okay, I can probably handle that.
You can do it.
But I think you're stuck anyway, because we all already said.
Kind of like being the last guy in the room and finding out you've been elected before you got there.
That's right.
Okay, so there is a motion on the table, there is a second, there is discussion, yes.
May I ask who seconded? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Thank you.
Okay, is there any more discussion on this topic? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Waiting for Dan to say nay.
Yeah. So motion passes, so I think you have your slate of officers to move forward and a plan in place.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, committee.
Good. Okay, information discussion, so potentially future campus expansion opportunities and impacts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this item came up because maybe 3 months back, we were discussing, I think, population growth in the region, and the question came up for us to for how we might want to consider approaching potential expansion as the region grows, sort of the urbanized part of the region potentially grows into Elmore County and Gem County as well. So I'm familiar with this from Houston, and I've done some localized research here. It's still very early to be able to, it's too early to be able to make any kind of a recommendation or like a really sound sort of like fiscal assessment of, exactly what we'd be looking at. So just to sort of lay this out, there's a high likelihood that the population growth in Gem County and Elmore County over the next 5 to 10 years is going to start having, traffic impacts on our region and on the particularly the jurisdictions that border those counties right now, which is a lot of folks in the room. However, there won't be a requirement. The only thing that really triggers a requirement for a Metropolitan Planning Organization to change its boundary is tied to the decennial census. And so it wouldn't, the earliest we could be required to have to make any kind of an adjustment would not be until probably 2031 or 2032. And even then there'd be a little bit of back and forth where it would then get tied into the sequence of when we have the next required approval of our regional transportation plan or a communities in motion update that will be in play at that point in time. And so it's not an urgent need, but we're talking about 2 counties right now that are both, Gem County's population right now is approaching 22,000. Elmore County's population is approaching 30,000. And so, if you want to think about the fiscal impacts, they would, assuming that the full, it's also not a requirement that that boundaries be at the county level only. So, theoretically, they could choose to join an MPO just based on what's becoming urbanized and connected to our region for them. So that's a possibility that could come up as well. Or they could be the full area. One thing that we do have in place is the state, through the Joint Powers Agreement, we're sort of designated as the planning entity for a really large region of the state that includes both of those counties, although they're not signatories right now to the planning agreement. So once they become members, then we would be putting staff time into, or if they become members, we would be putting staff time into helping them with grant applications and funding sources, supporting data collection and gathering data from them so that we can better understand the region and the transportation impacts. And I'll just note, if I could step back for a second, that's something that we did do at the request of ITD a few years ago, a few cycles back in the Communities in Motion plan. It wasn't just Ada and Canyon County, it was Ada, Canyon, and then the surrounding counties. We did it at one time so that ITD sort of had a point to be able to, or a plan that they could point to for bigger needs just outside of this region. And so there's a little bit of history behind that and probably a lot of value to being able to talk those big picture issues. I know ITD's putting a lot of work into the northern work on Highway 16, extending out of our area. And that's going to probably put more growth pressure there as well, and more traffic pressure on us as well. And so it would make sense, but probably at this point, the proper course is maybe to just start having informal conversations about that. And so we don't need an action item. I just am kind of looking for maybe some guidance, comments, feedback on that approach. We do have an opportunity. We are sponsoring, I still haven't got all the names down right, but we're sponsoring part of the Idaho Association of Counties. Did I get it right? Yes. And finally, I'm going to get there sooner or later where I get IAC and AIC consistently right. But we're sponsoring part of their training for new local government or new elected officials. And that's in early December. Part of why we wanted to do that was so that we could start having some contact and communication with them anyway. But if the executive committee does sort of think it is appropriate to have those, conversations, nothing formal, but just starting to talk about engage interest and perceptions and so on. That's probably a really good forum to start those conversations.
Great.
I fully support it. I feel like I'm the one to hit it out, so it's like, do I have a voice anymore? But I fully support it. I think it's a good time to begin these informal discussions. I think with our growth patterns and what we see coming, we need to. And it's a good way to start it, right? With the casual informal discussions before you move forward. And I think personally,
Yeah.
Any other comments?
It's
Yeah.
common sense, in my opinion. Highway 16 is gonna open, it's gonna change a lot, even without that northern leg. Mayfield's gonna change a lot once that really gets going out here. Right, so I mean, it's,
Well, a mountain home, the growth that's gonna
well,
go
that's,
east.
yeah,
Yeah,
Mayfield,
that's
so
what
Mayfield
I'm
Mountain,
sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
the 5,000 homes or whatever they got out there.
Casino.
And what's that?
Casino.
And a casino and all that, I mean, it's gonna change, it's gonna create the need.
Yeah, that's our thinking as well, but there's no, like I said, they have to want to engage also for it to be successful. You can't, well, it's not a good tactic to force someone into an MPO. It's much
No.
better, and I'm not saying, no, I don't mean to, that there's no interest in trying to do that. But it's far better to start talking about it now in case the census indicates that it becomes a necessity. We're well positioned at that.
I'm gonna just throw this out there, don't shoot me or anything, but what's the thoughts about Fayette County or Whiting County? I mean, we're all interconnected anyway, and it's just an interesting dynamic. If we're gonna have that discussion, why not just have a total discussion?
And we'd be happy to. Yeah, we can do that as well. And yeah, I mean, keep in mind, so the association part of Compass, the sort of the regional council piece of Compass, is entirely voluntary participation. The MPO element of what Compass does it's a bit more statutory. And so we'd be talking to them about the voluntary participation in the regional collaboration activities that we do. So yeah, I think it's a great idea.
It'd be helpful to have what a regional group can do. I'm always a little fuzzy on the official planning boundary for Compass versus then the member agencies that those different geographies. I'm not sure if the planning boundary, does that have to change at the census? Because when Canyon County and Ada County were together, there are a lot of Canyon County jurisdictions that weren't members of Compass, but Canyon County is in the planning boundary.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you can't compel an entity to participate.
Yeah.
But the boundary is going to have to include, so by law, the boundary of a Metropolitan Planning Organization needs to include the urbanized area that are currently encompassed and where that urbanized area is reasonably expected to grow in the next 20 years. And I'd say it's quite likely, it's possible, it depends on the development patterns, but it's possible that the actual urbanized area could start going north from Eagle into Gem County with the next census. I'm not sure that we'll make it to Elmore County in the next census, but that 20-year forecast is the part that is most likely to get us there.
I think the 20-year forecast will.
And, you know, it puts a lot of scrutiny on what that 20-year forecast looks like, and we'll certainly be paying careful attention to that as well.
So a question is, I think about the responsibilities if someone as a member age decides to join as a member, then the responsibility you would have to service them, right? To go after grants and whatever. And so looking at the revenue generation versus the staff impact, and if it requires adding staff to help support them. So I think in the future, looking at that financial model and seeing what the workload could be and what the staff needs are versus the financial and what kind of impact that has on the organization as a whole would be good to know.
Yeah, some, if I could, just some baseline responses to that. So adding new areas that aren't within the MPO boundary won't increase the amount of funding that we get from the feds to do through what we call the Consolidated Planning Grant to do the planning in the MPO. And so it ends up becoming more of a group sourced activity to be able to cover that. Now, what we've done, so Boise County is a really good example of sort of how we've done this. And Boise County has not required any kind of new staff, any personnel. But yeah, we've put resources and time towards helping them with grants and helping understand their needs and being able to communicate those. And as we get into state level discussions about revenue and funding, we'll factor in what we've learned from them into those discussions as well to be able to help them. And so we would do the same thing for anyone else. And what I don't really know yet is what that threshold would be where it becomes something like, in order to do this effectively, we probably need an additional staff person to be able to handle the additional population. And the needs for all of that. These are areas that are, low population and frankly, not high density roads either. And so it's hard to say, and it would depend on sort of what their interests are. And that's part of why having early conversations, because they may say, yeah, we'll be a part, but we don't really want to do much. Or they could say, hey, we've been waiting for someone to ask. And I've seen it all across the spectrum. I had both of those extremes in Houston, and in Houston, it was a situation where it was not a choice. The MPO, the urbanized area of the MPO was for the first time in 50 years going beyond the boundaries that had been established 50 years earlier. And there were going to be essentially annexations into the MPO that were going to be required. Hopefully, the main thing is to not, my experience has been the main thing is to not come across as, we're from the, the big urbanized area and we're here to, gobble you up as well. But just have it be, we want you to be part of the conversations and dialogue, and it can actually help them, if they're interested in, forms of, agricultural land preservation and growth management, we can help with that. The thing is, when we go beyond just the MPO boundaries, keep in mind, we can help with things, anything related to planning that falls under the Joint Powers Agreement, we can participate in that. And so there's a lot of opportunity to offer them really good value for what they do. And usually the things that we would learn from our interactions with Boise County would apply to Elmore County and give us insights and, sort of economies of scale with Elmore and Gem counties as well, and vice versa. And we would probably learn things that would help us interact with ITD as well, and probably give us a pretty strong voice with ITD, in fact. Because if we're representing, say, up to, you know, four additional counties, then the geographic area that we're covering and the geographic area that the district that we deal with covers starts to become very, very similar, and gives us an opportunity to partner really tightly with them.
Can I ask one other question? That is, this is maybe a stupid question, but are the dues mandatory or are they voluntary if someone wants to join versus not joining? At what point is it mandatory versus voluntary, I want to join, and then the due, because the due structure would be the same due structure, right?
Presumably, yeah,
Right.
yes. So the way it is now, I'm gonna maybe defer a bit to Meg on this one, but my understanding is the way it is now, if you're a member, you're paying dues. If you're participating in the voting and the decision making, you're paying dues. I'll note that what we toyed with in Houston, and I left before they advanced on any of these actual actions, but what we were toying with in Houston was sort of like an introductory rate, where they join for a couple of years to get a feel for it, and they're participating at a lesser extent, but their vote isn't as strong either. So there were going to be like 3 counties that were coming in under this program, and they were going to share 1 vote. And so there could be, you know, I'm not saying we should do that, but I mean, there could be ways in which to bring them in and have them be like observer status or something to start out, and then move, you know, find ways to move forward as they participate.
Okay. Thank you.
I think most member.
Is there a question? Yes. John, I see a hand up there.
But it has been up since we started,
Oh,
Sorry.
but I'm not.
Sorry, Terry. No, it wasn't.
It was the mouse.
It was a mouse.
In the
Ah,
room,
got
it looked like
Okay.
everything. Okay, so I'll take that. I mean, I'll take that as sort of guidance to just open up conversations, and I'll extend it. I'm going to focus primarily on Elmore and Gem counties because they're the ones that I think they're also feeling this sense, but I'll also open it up to Payette and Hawaii.
I'm curious, what is the, I know we've been watching the Middleton area for expansion of the urbanized area. I mean, does TMA expand at all? I'm just thinking in terms of funding
So
source too.
it's a secondary thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, so one of the after the 2030 census, and frankly, we'll probably know the answer to this after the rules for the 2030 census are put into place in 2028, 29. But in 2030, there's a fairly high likelihood that the combined urbanized areas of Nampa and Caldwell will reach the TMA threshold. And so what that would mean is the funding suballocations to them for TAP and for surface transportation block grant funds would become directly suballocated. So just as a reminder, right now, our region, so the Ada County gets the TMA funds for the Boise urbanized area. And Canyon County and all the jurisdictions in Canyon County for those federal dollars compete. And I'll say compete, but I mean, we have a very collaborative process worked out with the other metropolitan planning organizations around the state, but it's one pot of money that then is distributed following a formula and procedures and rules and stuff for that, for how that happens. And so it should average, I think it averages around $9 million a year that Canyon County gets, but it may not be 9 million every year. It may be 2 million one year, and then, you know, 17 or 18 million the next year. And so it can vary a little bit based on the scale and size of the projects. But we work really closely with the other MPOs to distribute the funds that are intended for those large urban areas. So what would change and what's likely to change after the 2030 census, and I'll say likely because you never know for sure. The census, the definitions can change and it could prevent this from happening. If the definitions change in such a way that neither Caldwell or Nampa got to that 200,000 population threshold, this wouldn't come into play. So that's sort of or possibility one, is that the rules are written in such a way that they don't stay as sort of a merged area and they don't get to that threshold. Or they become that merged area and they become a separate TMA within the metropolitan planning area. Again, it's not ideal, and there aren't a lot of them, but I had that in Houston, and so I'm pretty familiar with how that works as well. And then a third possibility would be that the gap fills in between Nampa and Meridian, and it basically becomes one big connected urbanized area, and then one large transportation management area. And all of those are frankly, at this point, possibilities. We'll know a lot more as we get closer to the census, and then certainly after the census, we'll have a really good answer on that. But the real thing that's going to affect the funding levels is frankly going to be the reauthorization, because it's really just a question of how the money is directly suballocated or more indirectly suballocated, as opposed to whether it is as opposed to whether the overall pot is shrinking or growing. The census won't change that much. It'll change a little bit because there'll be new population numbers, and that'll potentially affect the funding formulas. Although, to be honest, or frank, I guess, though that population, the funds for suballocation, direct suballocation to transportation management areas, that formula has not changed since 1998. And so the population proportions that were in play in 1998 are still the ones that are being used to calculate those formulas. There's a proposal, it's coming from Arizona right now, to update that formula for the first time through like 4 updates of the funding law, and it would benefit some states. It's actually my sort of back of the envelope calculation is it wasn't really clear whether that would result in more revenue coming here or not, because it turns out Idaho has actually done really well in federal funds historically anyway, above and beyond what we get directly suballocated. But it's something that I'm certainly looking at and paying attention to. But the bigger question is what the pot does, the overall size of it.
Thank you for tracking that.
Yeah.
And so it's the ability to stay on top of that and influence it. One, do the calculations to find out, is there an impact and which way does it go? Thank you for staying on top of that. So how do we stay on top of that? Is that through yourself, the NPOs, or is it at the federal level? So that's very important what's happening there.
Yes. It's a bunch of different ways that we do that. We are, as an organization, staff here are very active in National Association of Regional Councils. So Meg is on their finance committee.
Thank you.
I'm on their executive directors council. We're also highly active in AMPO. So Amy's, you lead one of the working groups, right? I just got put on, I don't remember what they call it. It's an advisory working group or something that relating specifically to reauthorization. So I'll be really involved in those conversations. We have others that are on some of their technical committees as well. And so we're really involved with them. So we get a lot of information from them and opportunities to participate at the DC level as well. And as I think you're all aware, I've been to DC for things relating to reauthorization, I think 3 times now, in the 9 months I've been here. So that'll be a regular part of what I do. The government affairs firm that we're bringing on will be able, they don't have a DC office, but they have DC connections through our delegation that are really strong. And so they'll be able to help get us in the door in DC and then use their delegation connections to help hopefully get us in when there are needs to talk directly to the Department of Transportation on some of these things as well. And we're hoping that that's going to help not just with tracking reauthorization issues, but also with making us be able to talk directly with folks at USDOT on grants as well. That is an informal way that has historically, I've noted, has been very successful. And so that's something else that hopefully they'll be able to help us with too.
Thanks, Mary.
This was really informative. Thank you. And you know, one thing I'm just gonna say it because I'm not going to say anything. I'm thankful that you're in the seat you're in. Because as we were hiring, it's important to have the experience that you have behind you. To bring us, because we recognize at the federal level, these decisions that are happening are critically important to us. And the funding that we have. And so I'm thankful that you're there. And thank you to each of the staff that you're sitting on the committees, you're sitting on, that you're making a difference. That is so important. So I think we're really blessed to have the team that we've got and that you guys are doing what you're doing. It's critical. So thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
It's good. All righty. At that, I think that's it for our agenda today. Is that correct?
Yes, and if I could, I'll just note as we move to discussing, so the next meeting, December 9th, at the moment, we have an incredibly light agenda. So that meeting's, I'm going to talk with the mayor, but there's a high probability that would recommend that meeting either not be held or that it just be a brief virtual meeting.
Sounds like a plan. If we don't need a meeting, we won't do a meeting. Yeah. And then we'll all be together on, what is the date of our, is it December 15th? Yeah, December 15th for a Christmas party.
That's always so nice.
So I don't know that anybody's gonna sing this year.
Oh.
The departing have to sing.
I don't know about that.
Just like last year, didn't you?
No.
No. So maybe Garrett did listen to Tom.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes, I was serenading. Yeah.
I was serenaded.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's right. I'm not sure what we're gonna do about that. So, yeah.
Hey, this is new for me. So one thing though, I hope everyone understands, I don't sing.
Yeah.
So it was our former mayors that sang.
Yeah.
Garrett and Tom Dale always sang it. So every year, yeah, they've sung. So, yeah.
Long
Yeah,
tradition.
you did, yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, what is your?
Travis is over there looking at me.
Thought we'd put that in the contract.
Yeah. Maybe you'll.
It's February.
Next February, wow. Got
1 year,
through
huh?
it. No, a year ago now, we were going through the.
We were going
process.
through the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, did we formally adjourn?
No,
We did not yet.
Thank you so much.
So we should formally adjourn. So
who's to adjourn?
we're adjourned. Thank you. Okay, and we can close. Off of Facebook. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.
Right in here.
11 o'clock.
Tomorrow, Brad.
Yes.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow. I'm gonna miss seeing you.